What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Rock Guitar School. So I just wanted to do a quick update video on the last video that I did. Basically, I think I called it the real trick of the 5153. Basically, that whole video is regarding the resonance control. So that's in the back of the amp. I got the amp turned around now. So I just wanted to point this out. Resonance control is affecting the bass frequencies, and the presence is affecting the treble frequencies. And you're kind of blending these two together to basically form that whole, the spectrum of the amp. So with the resonance control, you're really pushing that, it's bass, but it's just like, I mean, honestly, it's very hard to produce. Like I kind of realized like that on the last video. It's very hard to replicate, like even with a microphone, unless you're like in the room and you're like, you know, adjusting it on your own, like you can hear the amp in front of you. Obviously with YouTube and microphones, just the processing that YouTube does, you're not. It's very difficult to make out. With the preamp in front, if I'm adjusting the bass in front of the amp, it's more. You can definitely make it out a little bit better. With the resonance, it's more, I want to say like guttural, but like the more presence you can definitely make out, with just going through a mic. Resonance a little bit more difficult. Pushing the power amp. You're pushing the power amp with the resonance and the presence, right? Because that's affecting the whole, you're in the final stage of the amp. So the more volume, if you know anything about the power amp, what it's doing, it's a no-brainer to you guys. But the more volume that you give it, like the more effect that you're gonna get. The more juice that you're gonna give the amp, yes, of course that's gonna affect the power amp. I noticed that when I used to use a fractal a lot too. So, I'd be going directly. I wasn't using in-ears. I would just have a monitor in front of me. But the more power that I gave to that monitor, like basically affecting that power amp, the better it sounded. Same thing with these amps. Obviously that's why I love the 50 watts. As opposed to the 100 watts. It's easier to get to that. With the 100 watt, you're just like it's because you got to crank it up, right? So with the 50 watt, I mean you can crank this up. It's still loud, but it's not like the 100 watt. So when you're pushing this volume, like say past 9 o'clock, that's when you hear that power amp kicked in. So any of you guys that have this amp at home, try it out. Try messing with that resonance control, and also giving it some volume too, because you're really going to notice a difference. That's basically all I wanted to say, guys. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. But I think this is really what I was trying to get at with the last video. That volume, that's going to affect that's really, you're gonna really hear that resonance, the more that you give it volume, because that, you're feeding the power amp. Have a great day, guys. Rock on.